Imagine how you would feel if you were a US Marine that is stranded in a desert of a foreign country, hunted by both enemy soldiers and local wildlife, and having to survive for days against the impossible odds. The story takes place in North Africa. Marine sniper Mike Stevens and his spotter Tommy Madison patiently lie on a ledge for hours waiting for the arrival of their target. Mike takes his job very seriously.
But you are not that good.
We're not here to play games, man.
We're here to complete our mission, Tommy. I mean, come on, dude.
Finally, the target arrives in an off-road vehicle, accompanied by 2 other cars with armed guards on them. A large crowd of local people is approaching the convoy. When vehicles stop, Mike gets ready to eliminate the target. A well-dressed older man in sunglasses called Saeed Asif, a notorious rebel leader whom they've been chasing for months. However, the identity of this man is in question because he arrived in a vehicle of a different color than expected. It becomes apparent that rebels and local people gathered to participate in a traditional Arab wedding of Asif's son and a local young woman. Mike holds Asif at gunpoint, but is reluctant to shoot as his son and the bride are in the line of fire.
You're asking me to shoot the father of the groom and the groom.
Neutralize the target. Over.
Despite objections from Tommy and his superiors on the radio, Mike refuses to take the shot and puts down the gun. At this angle, the sunlight creates a glare off the sniper scope that alerts Asif's bodyguards to their presence. While Asif and his son run away in his car, his men engage the Americans in a firefight. Mike and Tommy retreat uphill. Seeing this, the rebels get in their vehicles and go around the hill to intercept them from the other side. 2 Marines quickly run downhill and manage to hide, using the rocky terrain as cover. The rebels stop their cars and start looking for them on foot. Mike uses a sniper rifle that has a silencer to shoot the rocks, distracting the rebels away from their real location. But a huge sandstorm is coming this way, so the rebels reluctantly end the search and retreat. Surrounded by the sandstorm, Mike and Tommy ask for an immediate evacuation. When storm calms down, they are instructed to move to a village 6 kilometers from here. The 2 walk under the burning desert sun for many hours. Mike notices a strange piece of metal in the sand. He picks it up and realizes that they walked into a minefield, because the sign says mines in Arabic. Tommy isn't worried about the sign, saying it's just a trick.
It's just an old Berber trick. They use these signs to keep enemies away from their villages.
Persuaded by Tommy, Mike reluctantly agrees to continue walking towards the village. They stop to rest and drink some water. Despite Tommy's cheerful attitude, Mike can't get over the feeling that something horrible is about to happen.
You gotta stop thinking about that sign. You're overthinking this thing.
It soon turns out that his sixth sense was right all along, because Tommy steps on a landmine and gets blown up. Running towards his friend, Mike hears a distinct clicking sound, indicating he also stepped on a mine. He immediately freezes, realizing that the mine will explode when he steps off. Tommy survived the explosion, but lost his legs.
Tommy, listen to me, man. I can't move, okay? I stepped on one of them too, all right?
Listening to the horrific screams of his comrade, Mike says he will risk stepping off the mine to help Tommy, as he is losing a lot of blood every second. Fearing that he will get himself blown up too, Tommy takes out his gun and shoots himself in the head, sacrificing his life to save his friend. Devastated by the traumatic experience, Mike slowly calms himself. Since it's hard for him to stand in a stationary position, he carefully sits down on his knee while keeping the pressure on the mine. He cleverly takes off his shoelaces and straps them to the grappling hook he has, after which he stands up and uses this device to grab Tommy's backpack that has a radio in it. But there is a problem. The radio is out of power. Luckily for Mike, he has a solar panel device that he uses to charge the battery. When radio is working again, Mike contacts the base and explains his situation.
What about your mission, Sergeant?
Failed, sir.
To Mike's dismay, his superiors coldly inform him that it's going to be at least 2 days before he can be rescued. Soon the situation goes from bad to worse. The intense sandstorm is slowly moving towards Mike. He quickly wraps a desert scarf around his mouth and nose, grabs onto his rifle and knife that he buries deep in the sand, and secures himself to the ground, right before the harsh wind reaches him. Only by miracle, Mike manages to hold his ground against the overwhelming force of nature.
What's next, huh?
He is annoyed to find out that the backpack with the radio was blown away. As hours pass, Mike soon runs out of water. He realizes that his situation is hopeless and in desperation yells for help.
Help!
The noise attracts the attention of a local Berber man, who curiously approaches the American. Turns out he can speak a little English. The man is confused about why Mike keeps standing still.
My left foot is on top of a mine. You're sure?
Mike tries to explain to him the severity of his situation and asks the man to get his radio, but there seems to be a miscommunication as the Berber man doesn't take his problem seriously and encourages him to start walking.
You don't understand. I needed to call.
You need to make next step.
The Berber takes Mike's flask and walks away in a strange pattern, indicating he knows the locations of the mines. Exposed to the harsh environment of the desert, Mike gets increasingly dehydrated. Sometime later, the Berber's daughter arrives with the flask full of water. She happily runs towards Mike following the same diagonal pattern as the Berber man did earlier. Severely dehydrated, Mike enjoys drinking the water and thanks the little girl and her father for saving his life.
Would you tell your dad I said thank you? And that I'm very, very grateful.
He asks her to get the radio, but she doesn't respond as she doesn't speak English. Mike gets angry, scaring the little girl. Left alone, he passes time by listening to music. At night, he starts a small fire to keep himself warm. Mike misses his girlfriend, Jenny, who loves him very much.
I love you.
As night goes on, he struggles to stay awake. Mike suddenly hears the growling noises of the desert dogs. To scare the dogs away, he starts firing his gun. Mike notices a dog ahead of him growling. He starts shooting, but as the dog runs towards him, it explodes on a mine, scaring the rest of them away. In the morning, Mike is visited by the Berber man.
You very lucky man.
He behaves like he doesn't have a care in the world, and once again encourages Mike to take his chances and step off the mine, or he will die from exhaustion eventually.
Every day your step can be your last step. What difference today?
Persuaded by Mike, who desperately asks for his help, the Berber man finally brings him the radio. Unfortunately, Mike gets nothing but static. This saddens him deeply.
Become free man.
The Berber man leaves. Later that day, Mike is forced to eat scorpions to survive. The toll of physical and psychological exhaustion is beginning to affect his sanity. He starts talking to himself and hearing noises that aren't there. Mike hallucinates that Tommy came back to life.
You were my friend. I'm not going anywhere.
Imaginary Tommy stays by his side, keeping Mike awake at night. He tells Mike not to give up because he needs to go back to Jenny.
Because you're gonna go back to Jenny. She's waiting for you.
At night, Mike is attacked by the dogs again. A few of them detonated on the mines, but one managed to sneak up on Mike and bite his hand. Mike kills the animal with his pistol, but he is getting surrounded by other dogs.
I don't have enough ammo to kill them all.
You're right, we're gonna have to try the maneuver.
Encouraged by Tommy, Mike tries to free himself from the mine while keeping the pressure on it with the boot, but the maneuver fails and he gets blown up. Fortunately, it was just a hallucination. When Mike wakes up to reality, he realizes that he is being bitten by dogs. While he fights the dogs, he imagines them as men in the bar that he fought many years ago. Somehow, Mike survives the brutal attack, killing the attacking dogs. But he is severely wounded by dog bites, making his already dreadful situation far worse. Finally, he is contacted by the base. Mike's superiors tell him that the convoy of vehicles is coming his way, but they won't be there for another 17 hours. Mike imagines Jenny sitting on a couch nearby. Sometime later, the Berber man arrives. He reveals that many years ago, he was going through this minefield and lost a leg to a mine, when he was trying to retrieve mines from the sand to sell them to the rebels. Now, he lives with a wooden leg. But he didn't let his injury ruin his life and soon met his wife while recovering in the hospital. They had many children, giving his life a new meaning.
I've moved on. Because you've got to keep moving on.
Before leaving, the Berber man gives Mike something to drink. It turned out to be some sort of hallucinogenic drug, because soon Mike watches as walls of the house emerge from the sand around him. He is facing the door. When Mike opens the door, he looks down and sees himself as a child, realizing that he is reliving a traumatic episode from his childhood. Mike quietly approaches his parents who are arguing about something.
Trying to get money to put food on the table for you?
His father, a degenerate alcoholic, starts insulting his wife and then his son.
You have something to say, kid? I'm right here. Did you wet the bed?
He starts beating up Mike's mother as he watches helplessly.
You know, at your age, kid, I was a mess.
The father then punches Mike, waking him up from this memory in real life. Mike reminisces about his happy times with Jenny.
My princess.
One night, Mike was in the bar where Jenny worked as a waitress. He watched in disgust as a group of U.S. Army Rangers harassed his girlfriend.
You got something to say? Let's hear it, huh?
The ranger's comments made Mike relive the trauma from his childhood when his father dared him to fight back. Enraged, Mike punched the ranger, starting a brutal fight with his friends. Despite being outnumbered, he defeated them all, impressing Jenny.
Can I get that beer now, please? Jenny?
Among many memories that resurface, Mike relives the death of his mother. He visited her in the hospital. Even though her life was coming to an end, the mother encouraged Mike to move on with his life.
You have to let me go. You have to move on.
She later died in his arms. Mike is awakened from his dream by imaginary Tommy.
Hey, Mike, look at me.
Looking through the binoculars, Mike sees that the convoy has finally arrived. He tries to call them on the radio, but can't get through the interference. In desperation, Mike reaches for a signal rocket, but suddenly, he gets shot. Looking back, he realizes to his dismay that the rebels have finally found him. They open fire at Mike. He grabs the signal rocket and tries to use it, but rebel fire detonates a mine behind him, throwing the flare out of his hands. Mike takes out a pistol and cleverly detonates more mines around him to confuse the rebels, who now can't see behind the sand cover. He quickly grabs his sniper rifle and methodically guns down his enemies one by one while they frantically shoot back. He eliminated them all, but ran out of bullets. Miraculously surviving the assault, Mike sees a figure on the horizon. It's his abusive father. While Mike takes out his pistol, the father gets closer.
Come on, son. I'm right here.
Unexpectedly, he hugs Mike, encouraging him to move on. Convoy vehicles sweep the area, but they can't find Mike. Tired of staying on the mine for many days, Mike reluctantly decides to take his chances and steps off the mine. To his surprise, nothing happened. Trying to understand why the mine didn't explode, Mike carefully sweeps the sand off the mine, only to find out that what he assumed was the mine was actually just a tin can that made a clicking sound when he stood on it. A sound which is identical to the sound of a mine being armed. Mike is happy to be alive, but at the same time sad that he had to go through all that suffering for nothing. In a bittersweet moment, he sets off a flare and is finally rescued when the convoy sees the red smoke and sends a minesweeper to reach Mike. Back in the United States, Mike happily reunites with his girlfriend Jenny at the airport and proposes marriage to her, symbolically standing on one knee, similarly to how he did with the mine earlier. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.